You don't want to miss this one because it's about to be bomb. Today, we're going to talk about the power of words with others and how the words we choose to use can give life.
Words have power, and I love when we can use that power for good. All the things around us today that we see, that we witness with our two eyes, God spoke into existence just from his words.
God spoke humans into existence, and his intention was to create us in his image. Y'all, exactly. We are a mirror of God. We have power.
You have the power to change that situation, the perspective of that situation. You have the power to change what people conversate and talk about around you.
The enemy he's real. And when he sees how people can be a power for the world together, he's going to try to come and separate that and destroy that.
Do you
Words
find
are powerful and they're very transformative. Like they can transform your day, your life, everything. You know what I mean? Like you could feel if you're like in a new job or you're in a new career and like you might be thinking I'm not that great at this, and then you help that one perfect customer and they give you like those words like you were the best. Like had it not been for you, X, Y, and Z, oh my God, you have no idea how much this has just been a big help or a big relief for me, or you know what I mean, this is something I've been trying to do, and it's like, oh, I'm on the right path. Like just that, like even it may be something small, but you have no idea how much that can keep somebody in a path that maybe they were on the brink of going somewhere else. So words are very transformational, and they have a lot of power to uplift. Of course, they have the power to destroy, like we said, last episode. But wow, when we use our tongue for positive to bring somebody life, like we can literally like talk somebody out of even suicide. Just words. Just, hey, I think you're great. I thought about you today and you matter. You mean a lot to me. I care about you. I love you, or I'm sorry that I might have said something that hurt you. I was in a bad place. Like just, wow, it can totally shift somebody from a very dark place. You have no idea, like just like that, and it is heartwarming, and when it comes from the heart. And there's just no better thing in the world than just giving somebody like words of encouragement, like words of positivity. It's definitely very transformational. So
I totally agree. And I'm so glad you said that, because I was thinking about how hard it is, because I do hear sometimes people say it's hard to give a compliment. Like for some people, it is hard to give a compliment. And whenever I was thinking about this question of things that have happened to me that gives me life, it was so easy to come up with examples, because I feel like those things stick with you. When someone says something nice, even if it's just like, hey, you know what? I really like that shirt on you. It looks really nice today. Every time you put that shirt on from that day forward, you're going to remember that comment that someone made to you. And it's just ingrained in who we are, versus when we had episode 5 and we were trying to come up with examples of destruction or someone, destroying you in your life. It was so hard because we like block those moments out. We don't ever want to think about those ever again. Whereas the life ones, they build you up. They bring out a side of you. They recognize something in you that truly makes you feel seen, makes you feel heard. Like those same things that we had talked about before, like it does the inverse of that. And that's when I think about words and words being used for life. That's what comes up for me, is that when we talk about life, we're referring to it as an analogy for beginnings, growth, and building. So life is the complete opposite of death, right? So therefore, if we're using words caused in destruction that are rooted in feelings of not being seen, not being heard, not being understood, then when we are building others up, the words we are using and the things we're pouring love into them, what we're doing is we're letting them know we see them. We're letting them know we hear them. We're letting them know we understand them. So all that thing of what you just talked about is exactly that. If I'm working a job every day and I feel as though my boss doesn't see me. I feel as though
Mm-hmm.
my coworkers don't see me. I'm always the person that someone's trying to write up, kind of like when we were talking about that story, before with our interview and Andrea, and she was talking about how everyone was trying to always get on her and trying to like basically get her kicked out. But that one woman in Andrea's life saw her and she said those uplifting words. And that was the thing that completely shifted her perspective on the situation that she was in
Mm-hmm.
and shifted her life. Like those words have power. And that's exactly what you were just talking about right there when you explained
Yeah,
that
no, like
situation.
it reminds me too, like whenever I'm hiring and I'm training someone new, I always speak life into them. And what I
Mm,
learned, like I have a master's in leadership, is that when you're leading people, right, even if at first you're like, oh my God, this person is under me, and even if you might think that they suck, right, or they're not gonna ever get it, right, in your mind you have to believe, like I have to believe that they can, because then the words that I speak, the things that I say, my behaviors are going to affect them in a positive or a negative way,
right.
right? And I learned that because at first, when I first started leading people, whatever I thought, my vibes were giving it away. Like I felt it, and it was tough for me. But thank God I got my master's in leadership, and I learned a lot. And now I lead differently. So, like for example, when Lavelle first started, she started as my assistant, right, in the company that I worked for, my 9 to 5, and she worked with me 3 years. When she first started, she used to be so stressed out, like crying, like, oh, I'm not gonna get this. And I will always say, girl, this ain't rocket science. Like, this ain't that hard. This ain't complicated. Like, you're gonna get it. You're very smart. You're very capable. You've done harder things before. This isn't that hard. Mind you, even if in my mind, I knew, I was like, oh God, I know this is not easy. This is a lot of work. I'm gonna throw a lot on her. Even if in my mind, I knew that. I wasn't speaking that. I was like, girl, you've done hard things in this. This is really not that serious. You're gonna get this in no time. Trust me, don't worry about it. You're smart, you're capable, you're amazing. And guess what? She stopped believing that she couldn't, and she started to believe that she could. And in believing that she could, she started performing amazing. Her creativity started coming out. Her work ethic, like things just started flowing from her. She started grasping things more. She started asking the right questions versus being frazzled. She just asked questions because she was like, okay, I can do this, but I have a question. And it was like her approach shifted, but it shifted when I shifted my perspective of the situation and how I seen her. But it started with me, my intention of how I wanted her to see herself, right? And now I do that with anybody that I'm training or anybody that's under me or anything that I'm doing. In my mind, I see that they can. I'm like, they absolutely can. Like nothing is really rocket science. Nothing that we can possibly do in this world is really, really hard. Because once you start learning it, it gets easier. Once you
Mhm.
start doing it and you start practicing it, it becomes second nature. That's just the life, right? The first time we got on a bicycle, it was like, I can't get it, I can't get it. And then we got it, and it's like, oh, this is the easiest thing in the world. Once you know learn it, you can never unlearn it, no matter how many years you go by that you don't ride a bike. You get back on the bike, it's like you never got off of it. So, but for me, I've learned that it starts with speaking that to myself, feeling that within myself, and giving the person that energy, and also reaffirming them that they can, that of course you can. And don't worry, I'm here for you. You have any questions, never getting attitude, never getting upset, never being frustrated. It's like, ask me a million times and I'm gonna give you you know what I mean? I'm gonna give you good energy every time until you get it. And they start feeling safe, confident, like I got this. It's a safe space to ask questions. It's not because I'm dumb if I'm asking questions. It's normal. It's a part of the process when you're learning something. And, people, it's good to understand that, when you are trying to build somebody up, that the energy that you bring to the table within yourself is going to affect that person over time. They're going to feel it too. So if you come from a place of, I know you got this, I know you're smart, I know that you're capable, I see you, like you're amazing, like you're gonna get this better than me. Like once you learn it, girl, you're gonna be better than me. And that's what I would tell about. Like, once you got this, you're gonna be better than me, trust me, right? Because you have this that I don't really have. Your attention to detail, you scored 99 percentile. Like you're amazing. So she started to believe that, and like, she excelled at everything that I would give her. And trust me, I would give her a lot of my tasks. So I had very few tasks on my plate because I was giving her little by little by little by little more and more and more, but it was also me growing her. It was also me showing her like, I am putting this on you because I know you're capable. And
Right.
that she took that in like I am, and it shifted her perspective on how she sees herself in a professional environment. And I'm proud of that. But, again, it's just the words, they have impact. They shift people. It can drastically change their life.
Yeah, I mean, when you spoke that in her, I'm sure she felt seen. Most importantly, what I hear when you taking that, and I love that part you said about it started with you, because I think there's often times where we want to go and we want to speak life into other people when we're a wreck ourselves. We're not in the right space to be speaking life into someone else because we don't even have it all together. And I love the fact that you went ahead and centered yourself first. You was like, Ariana, you got to get this together. You can't be bringing in energy that's going to make them feel as though you don't believe in them because you're here to lead them. She's already been hired. You're here to lead her. Like she's passed the test. She's passed all the check boxes you need to say this person is who we want on our team. Now it's a matter of you continuing to grow her. And I love it. And what I've heard mostly from what you were saying was that you were speaking with compassion. You came from a place of love. In the same way that God shows us love and compassion, you showed her love and compassion. Like we don't get it right. Think about how many times we screw things up in our life and God's like, it's okay.
It's
Like,
okay.
you're going to be better than me. Like, you're going to be better than me. Just watch. Like
Just
right
watch.
now,
Yep.
what you're going through and what you're experiencing is
It's normal.
it's normal. Like you're growing. This is a part of your growth process. This is a part of building.
Don't
God's like, I
stress.
see you. I see you. You're going to get there. And something you said that I found so interesting. So as I was reading through Genesis in that first part and was looking at all the things and all of what God was saying in those first 26 verses where he's speaking this and speaking that, what I found interesting in the passages I was reading it was that after there was a couple instances where after God spoke life into existence, that God then blessed what he created.
Ooh.
So, and you actually touched on this too. You were just talking about it with Lavelle. So after God created the fish and life of the sea, God saw that it was good. And then in Genesis 1:22, it said, then God blessed them saying, be fruitful and multiply.
Ooh.
Let the fish fill the seas, let the birds multiply on the earth. And then the second time it came up, God blessed his creation was after he created human beings, like after he created man in his image. And that was in Genesis 1:28, in which he then said, then God blessed him and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it, reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. So not only did God create, but he spoke blessings, be fruitful and multiply. And what I saw this as God saying, the love I've shown in creating you, showed that same love to others and continuing to create life physically and speaking life through our words.
Wow.
So it was like
That's amazing.
when you said that part about Lavelle, I was like, wow, you were already on it. Because not only were you speaking life, but you were continuing to bless her, like bless her, pour into her, bless her. You got it. You're gonna be better than me, like multiplying the blessing. And God was doing the same thing. So you were already modeling something that God had showed us way back when in Genesis how to do.
Wow, that's amazing because I wasn't even privy to that information that you were about to
Right?
talk about.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I love it because I think that like what he was saying with multiply, what hit me when you said that was when I spoke life into her, it allowed her to build that up, that ability to now pass it along and build that
Exactly.
and multiply that
Exactly.
type of, traits and abilities to grow other people. Right. And that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Lavelle outgrew our 9 to 5. She gave her resignation before I even gave mine because she knew that God was going to use her for something bigger. She felt like she outgrown that position. There was no more room for her to grow in God's,
Right.
destiny for her. And I ended up following suit. Not that it was planned, but I ended up finding my own path in my companies that I was outgrowing where I was at too, and that God wanted me to. So it's just so crazy how God works. We didn't plan it together, but God knew what he was doing, right? So it did multiply. You know what I mean? I had a leader do it with me when I got my
Mhm.
first job, that she spoke life into me. She was an amazing leader. It was like, she was like, Ariana, you work better than someone with a master's degree in social work. Because at that time I only had my bachelor's, and I think I spoke about this before. So she already put me on a high of someone that is so capable, of someone that has a master's degree in that field when I only had a bachelor's. So she did that for me. So it was like a transference, like, again, it duplicated. She
Right.
created that in me. She allowed me to see that, and I see how beautifully it worked. That now my leadership skills harness also from that experience, which I know Lavelle's going to also harness it, for the people that she leads, in giving them life and speaking to them like they can do anything. Even in the back of her mind, she's like, oh Lord. But she's going to start believing that they can, and they will believe that they can. That's just law. That's just how that all works, because speaking life, like the life and death is in the power of the tongue, it can bring life.
100%.
Power of the
And
tongue can bring life and will bring life, and it's very transformational, y'all. So let's use our words for good. Let's build each other up. Anybody that you have next to you, or anybody that you're living with in your home, that you just feel like, oh my God, they're never gonna get it. Start believing that they will get it. Start
Mhm.
speaking to them like they will get it, and they will get it. They will come to life. If you see somebody sad or down or depressed, speak life into their situation. Tell them how much you see them, how much you care for them, how capable they are, how they can do this, how they can do that. Tell them about their talents, because at the end of the day, we all have gifts, we all have talents, we all have things that are unique, right? But imagine if someone in the right moment speaks that to you, speaks your unique gifts to you, and you're like, and a light bulb goes on. Your whole life can change in a moment. Your
Mhm.
whole life can shift in a moment. It can lead you in a totally different direction. Maybe you were thinking of picking up a bottle that moment and getting drunk as hell, but somebody just came to you and says, hey, I've been thinking about you, and I just want to know that I care for you and I love you and I think that you're so amazing and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And you're like, we're feeling so heavy and down that you're about to go and, who knows, get in a car, drink and drive and crash, kill somebody, whatever. You never know. But your words have the power to radically shift and transform someone else. So let's be mindful of that, and use it for the good.
Amen. And that goes in so many areas. So many areas. I was actually thinking some about what you were just saying about the example of someone giving you a compliment or even like a review. When you think about it, when someone tells you something good, what do you want to do? You want to share it, and you want to share it with multiple people. If I go
Mm-hmm.
to a great restaurant and the food's amazing, what's the first thing I do? Hey, Ari, you gotta check this spot
Yep.
out. This spot's got some good food. The wings off the charts. You gotta go hit them up. Like that's how we operate as people. And so, what really stuck out when I read that, I was like, wow, we as human beings have already been doing this. One, because we are children of God, God's already modeled the way, it's ingrained in us. So, what God's doing, we do, right? Even if it's unconscious, because I don't think consciously we're always aware of how much we do share. But when it's
Mm-hmm.
something good, we want to share. We want to share when things are bad. But when it's something good, we really want to share because it's done something, it's shifted in our life, it's changed something for us. And I love what you said about pouring into people because I think it's something that oftentimes we overlook, especially when it comes to friends, especially when it comes to family.
Mm-hmm.
Never assume that someone's okay. Never
Yep.
assume that someone knows you love them. Never
Yep.
assume that someone knows you care. It can never hurt to
Yep.
say, I love you. But you know what? I've been thinking about you. You were on my mind. It never hurts to say that.
Nope.
Even if you said it 1,000 times, say it 1,001. Say it 1,002. Keep saying it. When I think about my time with my daughter, that is something that I can never say I love you enough to her. Say,
For
well, that's
real.
your child. That's your child. It doesn't matter whether it's my
Yeah.
child or it's anyone. I can never say I was thinking about you enough. I can never say it enough because I think
Yep.
there's a part of us, and I've definitely fell into this trap myself, where I assume that that person already knows how I feel about them, and it's hurt me in relationships, whether
Mm.
it's intimate relationships or friendships. It's hurt me, and that's not the world we're living in. Like when you're speaking life, you're letting people know I see you. I hear you. I understand with you. I empathize with you. And it opens up a whole new world. It truly does. So I totally agree with you on that one. Well, I truly believe that great leaders model the way, and we are modeling God, our Father, and we already have everything we need inside us to model the way because God made us in His image. And I think that's the most important part about all this that I want everyone to take away from this is that we were made in God's image, and God has already modeled for us what it's like to speak life into people. He's already showed us. He has examples all throughout the Bible where He's spoke life. All you have to do is just read those sections of the Bible and even look at this in Genesis, how much He spoke life into this world. And not only that, but blessed it so that it can continue to multiply.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to like give everybody like maybe like some homework, just a little takeaway that you can practice, right after, viewing this episode. If there's somebody that's on your heart to text, tell them that you love them, tell them that you're thinking about them, tell them that you see them, tell them how important they are to you. Just do that. And if you're a leader, you're owner of a company and you have employees that are amazing, tell them they're amazing. Tell them you appreciate them. Encourage them to want to grow and be better because you see that they're capable of growing and being better. Promote that person that's on your mind of giving that promotion. Don't think about the money. Don't be in scarcity. Just give. So like if there's anybody that's listening, if 3 people are coming to your mind, right, 1 to 3, that whether it's a CEO or your supervisor and there's an employee that's under you, you're like, damn, I haven't really been giving them words. Encourage your employees, big them up, promote them, bring them on a high because you're doing them a service and you're doing yourself a service because they're going to work harder for you. That's what I've seen in my life. So, and if there's a friend, a family member, your partner, your lover, and anybody that comes to your mind that you feel like you haven't in a while, told them how much they mean to you. Let this be the sign. Speak life into somebody. Don't let this episode just be an hour of your time and just time that you just spent watching and that you didn't get much out of it. We do this so that you can take information and do something with it and let it impact you and let it impact others around you. Because love is the greatest gift that God has given us, and our powers have words to speak love and to help somebody feel love. And you have no idea how much you can totally radically change somebody's life just by a simple call or even a text, some emojis, it works. Even if somebody's love language isn't words of, even if your love language is not words of affirmation, you cannot tell me that you don't feel good when someone says some good things to you. Yeah, I was thinking about you. You're amazing. You're awesome at this. They see your talents. You like that. So give it. If you like it, even if it's not really your thing, but it touches you and it uplifts you and it helps you just push a little harder in your day, in your life, in your week, give it. Give it to just one person at least, and you'll see how you'll get that back threefold. How you have 3 people the next week give you some words of encouragement or tell you something or tell you that they love you, they were thinking about you, how good, awesome you are, whatever that thing is for you. So I just want to, challenge you with that. And I want to thank you, Antoine, for this amazing episode. As always, you've been rocking it out the last, this 3 episodes that you've kind of, formulated for us. And I hope that everybody got something amazing out of these episodes. And I really hope that you can put this into practice into your life. And as usual, if you have any thoughts, comments, or anything that you would like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. And with that, thank you for tuning in. And until our next episode, always remember that having faith in God, having faith in yourself, and having faith in others will create the evolution that you are seeking.